Yo, it's Cooler Times 2000. Gang, gang to my cats. Sup to all my ducks. I am here with the legend, Daniel 100 ETH. What is up, man?
Hey, how are you? How's it going?
Going well, dude. I just have to ask you right off the bat, please tell me the story of how you won a giveaway and in 4 months ended up with the CryptoPunk.
Okay, yeah, this is a good one. I started with Top Shot, and through following on Twitter, my Twitter feed started changing. I started following people who are more into NFTs. When Ape started minting, I saw them all over my Twitter feed. I was like, I need to get in on this. But that was the first real NFT I tried to mint. Obviously, there's a lot of things I didn't know. OpenSea, no clue even what that was. How to buy Ethereum, no clue once again. So I missed out on that. I was clueless. Eventually, I went into indie art projects. So Ghost was the first one I started following, thanks to Danny Ukes on Twitter, Dan Verno, this is Twitter. And basically, I won a giveaway. I won a meme contest. That's what I won. I say giveaway because it's easier, but I won a meme contest. And I'm really thankful for that. And, I've talked to the creator, and he's amazing, very passionate, kind guy. So once I won that giveaway, I pulled out half to my savings, and I had 0.7 ETH to kind of grow. I said, this is what I'm going to use to get a punk. So started there, went through a lot of projects. I think I'm at 1,700 transactions on my MetaMask in terms of, buying and selling. And it's just so many different projects. Some of like my biggest winners. I stayed a lot for a long time. I stayed in indie art projects. So if you think Halos, Ghosts, the Negatives, Neon Kabukis, I don't know if you even know any of them.
Some of them.
Yeah, so they're all relatively similar. They're all very unique though. So it's pretty cool. And I stayed in those communities because they're so tight knit. The people that collect, the collectors are super into it. They're super smart. And it's just like a really cool place to be, in my opinion. Eventually, I started realizing that minting at the time, was pretty amazing, I guess, is how to say it. Like with indie projects, so Gas Wars, even, 3 months ago, I was 2 months in, I still couldn't really understand the concept of Gas Wars. I never looked into it that much. So when, Halos was coming out, for example, I had no idea how to win Gas Wars. And at the time, I only did things on my phone, so it's even harder to really manage these things. Eventually, I was able to build a collection of one ape, which was around like 3 or 4 ETH at the time.
Okay.
A V friend, which was around 6 ETH at the time. A Fidenza I bought for 6 ETH. And I had like 30 something cool cats. And when they were at like 0.4 to 0.7, they were very volatile that week. And I was supposed to trade for a punk, and that didn't happen because cool cats fell quite a bit that week. And me being me, I didn't want to risk losing that opportunity. So I tried to liquidate everything as fast as possible. Sold just about everything. My Fidenza for, a loss. I sold that at 5.5 ETH. My V friend for a loss at 5.5 ETH. My ape probably at the floor, and all my cool cats. So I completely sold out. I had 23 ETH maybe, and like a few kind of quote unquote worthless NFTs. And I bought my punk for 21.25 ETH, probably 2 or 3 months ago, if that long.
So you
And I
went
had like,
you went from zero point 0.7 ETH to a CryptoPunk is
yeah,
basically what I just got from that.
so I went from 0.7 ETH to 23 ETH in like 2 or 3 months, which is quite a long time actually if you think about it. But
That's insane.
no, yeah, I was like in shock. I mean, when I bought my CryptoPunk, I was like, is this actually happening? I couldn't understand, I guess, or comprehend. And the feeling I had like in my gut, I was excited, but also nervous. Like, with um, even security issues. Like I bought my ledger because I knew a punk was coming, and like a hardware wallet, which is very important if you don't have one. If you should look into that. But I was nervous, like, what if I get hacked? What if I lose all of it? And at the time, it was I think 45,000 is what I bought my punk for. In like a month, about 2 3 months ago. So it's already a crazy return. Couldn't be happier with that one for now. I'm still holding that, but that's kind of my story. It's obviously a lot more steps, and I have a thread on my Twitter about it.
Yeah, guys, if you're not already following Daniel 100 ETH on Twitter, you're missing out on a lot of great content. I'd say it's a top 5 Twitter follow for me. You know, put you up there with some of the top influencers and the non-cringy kind of influencer, as they say, influencer. But yeah, just looking up here, I have the Larva Labs website pulled up. I mean, a floor punk right now is over 100 ETH. So that's truly incredible. Do you ever think about the other projects that you sold out on, or is it okay to take a loss sometimes if there's going to be an ends, like a blue chip project, like obviously a CryptoPunk or an Ape, maybe even a Gutter Cat gang for some people?
Yeah, so I struggle with this daily actually, and I shouldn't be. So obviously I sold my Fidenza for 5.5 ETH. I think they're at like 200 ETH plus floor. Um,
Yeah.
that one hurts. I had 118 cool cats at some point. That one hurts.
That's like 4 ETH right now, floor. You
Yeah,
know,
now I mean
doing
it
the
hit
math.
7 ETH, I think. So
7 ETH. Yeah.
I mean it bounces quite a bit, but just I mean even if I held them, I wouldn't have held them that long. I doubt it. I don't like to get greedy in terms of trades. You never know what's going to happen. So I generally take profits and I try not to look back. It's hard not to think about these things. I had 3 apes at some point, but I made the best decision at the time to sell everything to get a punk because that's to me
Yeah.
was the holy grail.
Yeah. At some time you should push your blue chips in. I did a similar thing. I was willing to take a loss on, some curio cards I bought and some Mooncats, even though I knew that those were great long-term holds and have spiked in the past week, especially curio cards with the Christie's announcement. Um, I was willing to sell some of those for what I felt like might have been undervalued, just because I knew I was going to be able to invest in like a Punks comic or, um, a Gutter Cat gang, just projects that, um, to me, felt like maybe had a higher ceiling than a curio card. Obviously, that ended up not being true because that was before Christie's announcement. But you know,
At
having
the
like,
time, it seemed like the right move, right?
yeah, like 90% blue chips and 10% like gambles, I think is the way to go, and it helps you sleep a lot better at night. Like having a CryptoPunk for you, I mean, you must get 9 hours of sleep.
I do not. Not at all. I
So
have.
yeah, I
Go ahead.
mean, I'm assuming you're probably sleeping way less because of the tons of research you're doing. You have a very diverse portfolio. What goes into the research you do to find these great projects?
So I think there's two ways to go about flipping. For example, I'll talk about that first, and then get to the long-term holds. With flipping, there's two things I do and used to do. Um, I do flipping less in terms of 10K projects now because I think it's too risky. How much ETH I have, but there's one thing that I did was momentum, right? So you're seeing a project really gather momentum. A lot of people are changing their profile pics. You're seeing the floor slightly edge up every few hours. You can kind of look at the graph, see the little trend upwards, and that's when I pull the trigger. The floor would explode, I'd sell, and I mean it could keep going after I sell, but eventually it'll come back down, right? So usually that's one thing I do, momentum and kind of scanning Twitter to see. I think profile pics are very undervalued in terms of how to really research projects in that sense is seeing like the sentiment on Twitter, for example. I think that's a great tool and it's not used by many people. Many people don't think about that in that way, if that makes sense. And the other thing I do when I try to mint projects, for example, is I try to talk to the team and I try to find a uniqueness if possible. So Cool Cats was unique in terms of art style. It wasn't just another Bored Ape knockoff in terms of art. The team was really outgoing. They were really active in the Discord server the day of minting. They listened to the community, which I loved. So I minted 3 originally. They cut the price from 0.06 to like 0.02, I think. Something like that, 0.03. And because they weren't selling as fast. And at that point, I was like, okay, it's getting real. So I minted, like 80 of them and I bought a bunch in secondary when they dipped. And obviously I didn't think they'd ever be that special as they are now and considered a blue chip. But definitely talking to the team, finding a uniqueness for 10K projects is very important in my opinion. Or on the other hand, you can find kind of like the second of. So like the second of apes is gutter cats. The second of cool cats could be either the pixelated cool cats, which I heard has a very strong community in that sense, or right now we have Fang Gang, which could be the second um, cool cat. So there's multiple ways you could play it. Definitely, Twitter is probably the best tool I use. I don't really use graphs and charts as an NFT trader. I know there's some great tools. There's
You're not
Nansen.
that like meme of Charlie Day, like looking at like the graphs and charts, and it looks like he hasn't slept in like 5. That's not you in your bedroom.
That's that's not me. I
Okay.
mainly just Discord and Twitter is almost my whole day. Talking to people. Talking to people is a great tool. Obviously, they're not going to tell you things, but a
Yeah.
lot of them do. So what you do is what I used to do is you basically share your alpha, and eventually, if you're bullish on a project, you tell people because when they're bullish on a project, they'll tell you. Is what I say. So in that sense, it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm known on this channel for telling as many people as possible that I am bullish on Sup Ducks. So here's my annual Sup Ducks plug. But I think you make a great point about Cool Cats, just as a general point, because Cool Cats to me it has such broad appeal, whereas some other projects don't. I totally can see kids having Cool Cat lunch boxes one day. And some people think that might be them selling out or whatever, but I just think the merchandising aspect, the broad appeal of Cool Cats is what really, it was the first cute profile picture in my opinion, that really went, you know, uh, big
Went well.
on a big
Yeah.
scale. So that's why I definitely love Cool Cats. I'm, a hodl on Cool Cats. Now just going back to the beginning of your story, you said you won a giveaway, you won a meme contest. For somebody who's getting into NFTs right now and is not starting out with anything, I mean, you're literally a self-made NFT entrepreneur. Is it worth for them to try to get in with giveaways, or is it better for them to maybe start with a mint? What's like step one for somebody who's just starting out with NFTs?
That's hard. Right now, there's so many like scammy giveaways. The way I won my meme contest is by really interacting with the project. Like that's one project I really wanted. Um, and obviously I've talked to the creator at the time and I was very involved in the community in the sense of like everyone knew I really wanted one. So it all kind of lined up and it was hosted by the project, which I think
Yeah.
are like some cool giveaways. I tried to do a lot of giveaways myself, whether partnered or sponsored by myself. I give away a bunch of NFTs. I give away ETH. I think pretty often compared to a lot of people because I try to. Recently, I've been doing like follower. So I did a giveaway yesterday, the day before, where it was 10 random followers that won a random NFT from my wallet. I'm all about
That's awesome.
supporting people who support me, and I think that's the best way. Instead of trying to gain followers, you reward the followers you have.
Yeah, there's a growing contingency of Daniel 100 ETH cult members. I may or may not have drank the Kool-Aid early on. So again, definitely follow my man Daniel on Twitter for not just like the giveaways you mentioned, but just great alpha and just a great commentary. One thing that came out today that really struck me was UTA signing Larva Labs, getting involved with CryptoPunks. What do you see the rest of 2021 looking like for CryptoPunks? Obviously, you have a lot invested into it right now.
Yeah, so I saw it earlier in the day. I saw it like an hour after the news came out. I was like, this is cool, except I had no idea who they were. I assumed they were a big name, right?
Yeah,
But I looked into them somewhat, and they looked really cool. The only points I saw brought up on Twitter. So there's some people against it, some people for it. And obviously, as an investor and trader, you want to see both sides, in my opinion. You want to formulate your own opinion, but you also want to see contrasting opinions. I think it's really important in this space because you're never going to be the smartest in the room, or if you are, you're in the wrong room, right? Um, I'm I'm definitely not the smartest person in any server or anything like that. And hearing the bearish thoughts. So, for example, we punk holders don't own the IP rights to our punk. which is very different from apes, which each owner has the commercial IP rights to their apes, which I think is cool, and I wish Punks did that. But overall, I really like the announcement. I think it will help accelerate the mainstream movement. This is like after Visa news, after this acceleration of price, mainstream is kicking. Like I've already onboarded 3 or 4 people from my personal life, family and friends, 5 people I think now. So I think onboarding new people is really important. But in terms of punks, I honestly was like, when I bought my punk, I said I hope they can hit 400,000 in the next few years.
Wow.
And I was like, I'd probably sell. Obviously, I've grown attached to my punk. I really don't want to sell. I might sell at 1 million because I do think they're going to hit 1 million. I know there's sentiment that ETH hits 10,000 this year. Punks will hit 1 million this year. I think it's very possible if we look at the trend that we just saw. If we see another boom like that, all it takes is one boom like that, right? Overall, I'm not getting my hopes up on 1 million this year, but I do think in the next few years these will easily be 1 million. And you're already seeing that it's kind of the holy grail of the digital world, right? If you're in the NFTs, it's kind of like the number one well-known NFT, and it definitely adds credibility to you. So when I added my punk profile pic, my engagement went way up. Than when I had my other profile pics. I don't even remember what
Digital
they were.
flex. That's going to be the new crutch phrase for the media the next couple of years.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you have a CryptoPunk. You talked about how you had a bunch of cool cats at one point. You missed out on the Bored Ape. The consensus is CryptoPunks number 1, Bored Ape Yacht Club number 2. Who do you think how is it going to shake out with maybe 3, 4, and 5 as far as those blue chip projects, PFP or not? What does Daniel 100 ETH kind of see that going?
Okay, so I think in terms of PFP, I don't think you can really combine certain projects, right? But in
Okay.
terms of PFP without art, like art collections by individual artists, the 10K and 3K, 5K projects, I think it goes punks, apes. I still think gutter cats number 3. I know some people think it's cool cats, but I think it's gutter cats slash cool cats for 3 and 4, I guess. And they're pretty interchangeable in that way. Except, obviously, I like both projects. I've owned all 4 of those. I've owned a gutter cat at some point, a cool cat at some point, punk, and ape at some point. Currently, I only have a punk.
And then 5 is
Also,
like Sup Ducks, probably, right?
honestly, okay. So I wanted to talk to someone about Sup Ducks.
I'm
I
long on Sup Ducks. You're talking to a Sup Duck holder. King Frog airdrop coming September. Tomorrow is September, Daniel. So yeah,
why are you so bullish on them? Why are you so long?
I think it is the best art that we've seen. And I think that universe to me seems like it could fit in so many different ways into the zeitgeist. I love that the development team led by Frankie Nines has said that he doesn't want to do anything 3D. He wants to keep it 2D. Like his vision for it is like the Simpsons arcade game. Kind of has this nostalgic pop art type of feel to it. And it's so cool. I think it's been the most addicting profile picture I've bought into. I have Gutter Cat Gang, I have Cool Cats, and every day I find myself looking at different traits of Sup Ducks. It's just something addicting. It's like when you try crack for the first time. No, I'm just kidding, but
That's
it's super addicting, and I don't know how to explain it beyond that. But I kind of love the thinking of the development team, and they're very quiet about what they're doing, but I know that they're working on a lot.
is it I remember, I don't know if it's still the case, they're working on a TV show, right? Is that still a
Yep.
thing?
Yep. And I totally see it fitting on like an Adult Swim because the Ducks to me all have so much personality. And I think they were talking to somebody like one of the voice actors from Hey Arnold, which was one of my favorites growing up. So there's a video game that's going to come out next year. That's going to be a really fun experience. There's a TV show coming out. King Frog airdrop coming out, which everyone loves an airdrop. And they're also coming out with like duck tokens. We haven't heard too much about what that's going to be, but you could potentially use these duck tokens to customize, wrap your ducks with further gadgets. That's one of the reasons why I love CyberKong so much. I mean, Bananas has done gangbusters for them, and I think duck tokens. I mean, quack quack. So yeah, that's just my thought on that. But I want to get back to you. What other projects should we be looking out for before we wrap this up? What are projects that you've minted recently or going to mint? What are you into right now?
Okay, so this is a good question. I recently, the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I've been pushing very hard on photography. At the time, to me, it was very undervalued. You see some of these people, you see some of their work, some of their following on other platforms like Instagram. They have 1 million followers, 500,000 followers, and they're getting no recognition in the space for whatever reason. And I think it's very hard for, one of one artists. We see it most of the time. There's not much success there. You either are like one of the first, like X Copy, or some of the others on Super Rare. Ghost made a name for himself, which is awesome. And essentially, people stay away because it's more risky and it's less liquid, which I understand. If you think about Twin Flames, that's kind of the number one photography blue chip I really want. He is a pioneer in the space. He's been around for a very long time. And he's working on a new project called Quantum Art. But so basically, I've been going hard with photography. I've been buying a lot. I bought a Drifter Shoots piece. Where My Vans Go is the collection. And that, to me, is my favorite piece, honestly. I mean, it's competing with my punk in that sense. And it's just, his story is so fascinating, and then the art and the thrill of those pictures is just exhilarating, I guess I'd call it. And I think it goes down as one of the most iconic collections ever in the future. So I vaulted one of them. I traded the other one for some mutants to get some exposure into the Ape Club. My big conviction play these past few days, other than photography, was Penelope's Country Club. Do you know that project?
No, I don't.
You don't know Penelope? Okay, so
I saw it on Twitter, but I'd be lying if I knew much about it. I just saw the name.
So I'd love to talk about it because I kind of just really understood what it's about and the background behind it. Thanks to someone who reached out to me, tried pitching it. I said, I don't understand it. And he said, let's hop on a call. That was yesterday, I think. So yesterday I bought 40 more than I had, or 39 more. So I have 44 Penelopes. Basically, the creator, his name's Carlini.
Is this on OpenSea?
Yeah, it is. It's called Penelope, Purr.
Okay, let me pull this up. Yeah, okay. Keep telling me about it. I just wanted to show a visual reference.
Yeah. And the creator's name's Carlini. He's the developer and the co-founder he was the co-founder with Pranksy of the NFT boxes, I believe. So obviously Pranksy supported. He owns a lot. If you look at holders, I believe he still owns a lot. Gary V, I think, is in this. I think Dingling is in this.
You said Dingling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a real person. That's a great name. Okay, Dingling's into this. All right, cool. I'm in.
I mean, you got me kind of like flustered now. I don't even know if I said that right. I'm pretty
sure
it's
it's right. That's a sick name, Dingling.
I have no idea.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I wanted to clarify that.
You know who he is though, right?
No, I don't.
Look up his OS real quick. I think this is him. No, AL, I think ING.
Dingo. I'm so thrown off right now.
Hold on. Let me try to find his Twitter. This is like important to me.
That we get Dingling's name right.
It's called DINGALING.
That one right there, this top one?
Yeah, probably both his, but yeah.
Let's see. This is a cool way to just like you can do this on Crypto Slam as well, but looking at people's public wallets for people who are watching this who are not as into this space, this is like an open book test. This is really a cool way to just to see what other people are collecting. So yeah, okay. This is Dingling, and he buys NFTs, and yeah, thanks for putting me on to him.
He has a vault. He's really big. He was a big Top Shot person. He bought all like the #1 cereals, so a lot of people know him from Top Shot.
Yeah, his stuff's
Anywho,
great. Yeah.
he's a big holder of things, and you know he has so much money. I don't know where he gets the ETH from because he basically buys and doesn't sell, which is amazing. And so there's a lot of cool people and very smart money in Penelope. And after learning more about Carlini, who is a co-founder of Pranksy, obviously is quite smart. He's retired, so he kind of went all in. I've heard he salaried the whole team for the year, at least till the end of this year. So he funded that. They put a lot of the Ethereum from primary sales into what they call the Kitty Bank, which is like a community wallet, but not. It's more like a DAO, I guess, in my opinion.
Nice.
But so basically they have, I think the collection's worth 500 or 600 ETH in there. And you can probably look it up. It's called Kitty Bank, and you can see what's in there. But essentially holding a Penelope will grant you a token that basically acts as a fractional ownership. So if you look at the wallet address of this guy right there. Yeah, right there. The 1D. Yeah. So this is kind of everything they have in that Kitty Bank, so they call it. And
love Avastars, obviously, as kind of a historic, still undervalued kind of a historical project.
Yeah, so you can see what they're buying, what they bought in.
See the NFT boxes there. Yep.
And they have that, which is really cool to me. They have a very large liquidity pool. So they have, I think, 800 Penelopes in the liquidity pool, and the floor is quite high. So if anyone needs, an instant sale, they can go to the liquidity pool and basically get the same amount as the floor, which again, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And it helps sustainability. So what's really cool about Penelope is the number listed is actually very small. So if you look at most projects, Punks have over 1,000 listed. I don't know about Apes, but most projects have at least 10 to 40% listed, which is quite high. This project, let's see, 633 out of 10,000. That's insane. That's less than 7% listed in buy now.
Wow.
So if you were thinking about it, these guys that are holding them are holding them. Like they're not in it for a flip. This is obviously above mint already. I think mint was 0.08. Came out a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two, probably a month. And that Kitty Bank idea is really cool. They have a deflationary mechanism coming, I believe. So you get, if you hold one Penelope, you get airdrops every month of a new token.
Wow.
And that token can be burned for access to that Kitty Bank, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. They're providing a lot of good value there.
Yeah. So just the vision behind it, it's very slept on, in my opinion. I was planning to do a Twitter thread on it tonight when I got around to it, because I feel like it took me a while. It took me a phone call to really understand what they're doing. They have some really good articles on Medium too, on their site.
Yeah, I'll link those Medium articles. And if you guys see the floor swept tonight, it might be me before this. We're doing some insider trading before this Twitter thread goes up tonight. So appreciate you giving me the lowdown on that. Yeah, I mean, I love the art here. I mean, I don't want to compare it to any other projects, but this is fantastic. And then the utility and the value that they're going to be creating for holders is really bullish. So
No, yeah, so like it's a very strong conviction. I don't see how these don't at least quadruple in a month. I'm
wow.
Gonna say that out loud. I'm gonna
Wow.
say 1.2 ETH by the end of September. So I bought 39 yesterday from the liquidity pool because it was cheaper at the time, and it saved me a lot of trouble from buying off the floor individually.
Wow.
So that's where I am with high conviction plays. Obviously, I have 80 bikers, which is really cool. They have a simulation game coming, an airdrop of like
That's
bikes from over.
blockchain bikers, right? The project name.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, blockchain bikers.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw you had a great tweet about that. And that's why following Daniel 100 ETH on Twitter is so valuable, because you just get the great analysis that you won't see in a lot of other places. That's just things that he's actually buying too. It's not just, just throwing out random projects because of whatever. So yeah, definitely give him a follow. And dude, I hope we can do this again and talk more, because this has been fascinating. I know my listeners know a lot more about the NFT space, and know that, hey, if you make a great meme, maybe you too can own a CryptoPunk. But yeah, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. Once we get to 250 subscribers, Daniel's going to give his CryptoPunk away to you guys. Just kidding. That's not going to happen. But
Or something.
thanks again, man, for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's
All
nice
right.
meeting
Talk
you.
soon.